Don't you just love a good biscuit? I do too. Well, guess what? You can make your own biscuits from scratch in your own kitchen. It's so easy. Listen, my name is Lynn. I'm the party chef, and I'm going to teach you how to make homemade biscuits with just five simple ingredients. All you need is all purpose flour, heavy cream, baking powder, kosher salt, and granulated sugar. That's it. That's all you need. Those five ingredients for you to get started today making homemade biscuits.
No worries. If you don't have kosher salt, you can use table salt this time. Let's get started and let me tell you what else you need.
These are the tools you're going to need to get started. You're going to need a bowl. You're going to need both liquid and dry measure. They are different. You're going to need a wooden spoon, a spatula, a small set of measuring teaspoons, an offset spatula or a knife, a small whisk, and a pastry brush. That's it. And also a sheet pan with a silpat for you to get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is to measure our flour. Okay, measuring your flour is very, very important. You're going to begin by whisking up the flour to add some fluff and air into it since it's been sitting for a while. All right, we're going to need 2 cups of flour for this recipe. After you do that, you're going to take your measuring cup and a spoon and gently spoon the flour into the measuring cup. This is one of the most important things when you're baking is your measuring. So you're not going to scoop it in and take it out. You're going to use a spoon and scoop gently into the measuring cup. Then you're going to use a knife or an offset spatula and you're going to slide it across to even it out. That's how we measure our flour when we are baking. Okay, very simple. So you're going to do that twice so that you can have 2 cups of flour and right into the bowl it will go.
If you want to become proficient in baking, measuring is going to be one of the most important things that you learn how to do.
Next thing we're going to measure is our sugar. We're going to need 2 teaspoons of granulated sugar. You can scoop the sugar out. It's not as important as the flour in the recipe, okay? So it's okay. You're going to scoop 2 teaspoons of sugar right into the bowl. And now we're going to go into our next ingredient, which is our salt. We're going to measure our salt into the bowl. We're using kosher salt always in the baker's kitchen. I know other people use different kinds of salt, but when you're a true baker, we are using kosher salt. So we're going to have 1/2 teaspoon into the bowl of kosher salt. Now let's add our baking powder. We're going to need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. All right, 2 teaspoons again. Now you're going to level the baking powder. When we're using baking powder or baking soda, we're going to level it. You're going to do the same thing as you did with the flour. 2 teaspoons of baking powder right into the bowl. Now you're going to give all of your dry ingredients a stir with a wooden spoon. This is to incorporate all of the dry ingredients so that when you mix, there's no pockets of salt or sugar. All right, so you're going to just mix that thoroughly. Now you're going to pour in our heavy cream, which is 1½ cups of heavy cream. It can be cold for this recipe. Usually when we're baking, our ingredients are going to be room temperature, but when we're doing biscuits, your ingredients can be cold. You're just going to give that a mix until it comes all together. We want to be careful not to overmix the dough. Overmixing causes a tough dough. So you're going to mix it just until it's combined. And then we're going to take all of that and put it onto a floured surface so that we can knead it, cut them out, and into the oven they'll be ready to go. Now that your dough is all together, you're going to take a spatula and get any straggling pieces of the dough all combined. All right, once that is combined, you're going to take that ball of dough and you're going to put it onto a floured surface. The dough is going to be a little bit sticky, so we don't want it to stick completely to the counter. We're going to put some flour down on our counter, which has been sanitized ahead of time. And now we're going to gently place that ball of dough onto the counter so that we can knead it out. We're going to now gently knead the dough about 4 or 5 turns, not too much. Again, we don't want our biscuits to be tough. So the more you knead, the tougher your dough is going to be. So just a few times, you're going to just knead it into a ball, and you'll feel the dough in your hand becoming a little bit softer. And then you're just going to flatten it out.
Now we're flattening out our dough to about 1.5 inch thickness. All right, this recipe is going to yield about 10 smaller size biscuits. You're going to begin cutting. You pick what size cutter that you like to use, and we're going to begin cutting from left to right each biscuit. Again, it's rolled out to about 1.5 inch thickness. So you're going to go around cutting your biscuits, and after you have all the circles cut out, you have some dough that's going to be left over. You're going to just repeat the process by gathering your dough together, kneading it a time or two, and then flattening it again, and then cutting out your biscuits. You're going to repeat this process until all of the biscuits have been cut out. Again, this recipe is going to yield about 10 smaller sized biscuits. Your pan should be ready to the side and already ready to have the biscuits placed on with your Silpat. Again, be sure not to over process the dough. Just a time or two to bring it together and finish cutting out your circles. You want your biscuits to be flaky and not tough. Again, this is very important as well. Repeat that process all the way to the end till you have 10 biscuits, and then you're going to be ready to put them on the sheet pan and into the oven. Our sheet pan was to the side, and already we're going to stagger the biscuits onto the sheet pan with 2 rows of 5. And then you're going to take the leftover heavy cream mixed with a little bit of water, and you're going to use your pastry brush and just brush on top of each of the biscuits until you're all finished. And this is going to give a nice finish, a nice brown coloring to the top of your biscuits. Your oven should already be preheated to 450 degrees. Into the oven your biscuits go, and they're going to bake for about 15 to 18 minutes. They should look nice and golden brown like this. Once your biscuits are out, you're ready to butter them up with some salted butter, and you can use your favorite condiment, syrup, or even alaga or jelly. If you've enjoyed this video today, please be sure to like and subscribe. We have more great videos coming for you. Thanks for watching.